Hey, it's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes. Welcome in, everybody. And we have a great show for you, as always. I'd like to think. And our special guest today, our Ms. Astrology, is back with us.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm glad Aquarius season is about to be over.
Okay, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll talk
And,
about that.
and want to welcome in our friend AJ Jamal, the hardest working man and most difficult to get a hold of, by the way. And
I
he is
got
currently at sea. He is joining us
yes.
from the high seas. How are you, AJ?
I'm excellent. Life is beautiful, and I'm glad to be at sea where it's nice and peaceful and quiet. And people have to do certain things. You have to wear a
Just
mask on this ship,
Okay,
and so there's protocols they have to. And so
good.
I like
nice.
that. And as you can see, I changed my name a little bit, like
I
that
I
dude
saw
on
that.
the
The beautiful God.
I was gonna
right.
ask about
Every
your.
time I saw that show, and I go, wait a minute, how this dude gonna be the such and such the God? Okay, rather than hate on him, I'm gonna change mine too. So
Okay,
now,
and maybe you'll get the deals that he's gotten lately.
I ain't think about that. I was just I'm
But
happy
you are
with
a
being just a.
hardworking man. You are really are.
Yeah, you're right. You have to. I have fun with what I do, so that's good. And if
You,
anybody don't like my sunglasses, I could take them off. But what it is, because I'm so chocolate, I have to use extra light to illuminate me. And the sunglasses is actually for the illuminated light, and that's why I look 4 shades lighter tonight.
I was asking you, AJ, earlier. Had you gotten some sun? Because you look a little
Right.
tanner.
Right. You said tan. Oh, see, that's where I got confused. Because when she said tanner, I said for me to be tan, I would have to go up. And so I thought you can't be this dark and go tanner, meaning I got darker. So you meant I got darker?
Well, you have a glow about you. You have a sunny glow about you.
Oh, that's my lighting.
It's
Right.
the lights.
Okay.
I got I got the Amazon Sunny Glow package.
I want that package. Okay, Chica, make a note of that, please. So here we are. We're going to talk about, obviously, about now we're coming up on Pisces season, correct, Ms.
Yes.
Astrology?
Correct. Tomorrow morning at around 11:45 Central Time, the sun makes its way into Pisces.
And so you are going to be here with a true Gemini. And I don't know how this will affect our conversation, but definitely AJ is a Gemini. I'm your, I can't even say the word on the cusp, but I am a Leo.
Right.
And
Thank you. Thank you.
That's funny.
but Miss Astrology has been with us before. We had such a great time. She came on last month, and we're going to keep this going and just enjoy the conversation as well as your take on things and that are happening. So we'll talk about topics and AJ. As we go through this, we'll get your comedic take on things, but we'll also get Ms. Astrology's astrological take on the things that are
Okay.
happening in our world as we go through the things that are happening currently, as well as the newsletter and also entertainment stories and the like. So let us just get started and tell people where you're coming from, AJ. You are on sea at the high seas, or on the high seas, I guess.
Yes, I'm on a Princess Majesty, Majestic. I don't know. It looks the same when you spell it. And we're doing a Mexican, which we go from Cabo San Lucas, then we go to Mazatlan, and we just left Puerto Vallarta yesterday.
Ooh.
And so, if that's what I'm doing right now, and it's amazing. And I've been here 5, 6 straight weeks doing this, and
Uh-huh.
so we do that run, and it's actually fun. I mean, if you go to Mexico, everybody's selling the same thing.
Right.
I I saw the same people in Puerto Vallarta that I saw in Cabo selling the same thing. I'm like, I think y'all just rolling this up and turning it back out, and making it seem like we're going to different places. But
DL has said the same thing when we were on the Joiner cruise. He said, we just circle around and they just put a
right,
different sign up and say where you are.
but
That's
yeah. So
funny.
I'm glad we got connection on this out in the middle of the ocean.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, Ms. Astrology, we are so glad to have you back
Thank you.
and give us your take on things from your astrological standpoint. So I do want to mention one thing before we get started, and this is something that I'm involved with. The American Heart Association encouraging women to reclaim your rhythm and take control of our mental and our physical well-being. So the American Heart Association is empowering Black women to use music to get their hearts pumping or to rest and relax. And so I'm asking you to
I love
please go
this.
to @American_heart on Instagram, check out the different playlists that are offered, and then vote on your favorite. And I'd appreciate your vote. So if you would do that, thanks a lot. I
I love
appreciate it.
that. That makes sense, Sybil. Leo rules the heart.
That, there you go.
So it makes sense that you would be associated with that. And it
Thank you
also
so
makes
much.
sense for them to want to incorporate music now that we're going into Pisces season and Jupiter is in Pisces. It's all about the music and the dreaminess and all that.
So
Makes so
let's
much
talk
sense.
about this, Ms. Astrology, and talk about what's going on in the news. You know, the possibility of a Russian invasion is looming
Yeah.
more and more, larger and larger. The U.S.
Mhm.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that Russia is laying the groundwork to justify starting a war and preparing to launch an attack on Ukraine in the coming days. And this is the information he gave in a special meeting at the United Nations Security Council. He changed his all of his plans so he could be there. And the top U.S. diplomat said he was detailing U.S. intelligence about Russia's attempts to fabricate a pretext for an invasion in order to influence Russia to abandon that path of war and choose something different. This Astrology, what's it looking like to you?
This is actually really concerning to me for the US to be involved with this. And I know that in a way we have to, and we have Saturn and Libra. So we are learning our boundaries and our relationships and our partnerships. The issue for me is the US is in its very first Pluto return. So just like the sun returns once every year, Pluto moves so slow that it only does it once every 200 and something, 243 years. So
Wow.
people don't actually see a Pluto return. However, the US is now about to see the Pluto return. And Pluto is a planet of power, of destruction. It's the death and rebirth. And it's a warrior. And it really can destroy. It will use, this is, missiles and weapons of mass destruction. Pluto's going to use, I always call it the boss baby because it's so little. But you know how you bring a brand new baby in the house and they're not even 10 pounds and they run the whole house?
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
This is what Pluto does. As little as it is, it's got amazing impact. And I honestly think I wrote down the US's chart. I know we're not going to stay out of it and they're not going to listen to me. However, we need to stay out of it. This has the potential to cost us a whole lot of money.
Mhm.
We have their Pluto return is happening in our second house of the money you make from the work that you do. This honestly has the potential to destroy our economy, as well as some relationships that we have. So as much as I don't believe this president actually has an astrologer on board like a lot of other ones did.
Mhm.
If he did, I would say, is there anything else that we can do to not actually get ourselves involved in this? It actually makes me pretty nervous.
So let me just say that the views of Ms. Astrology are her own and not necessarily those of It's Sybil. But I do want to get your take on this, AJ, especially from your standpoint, because you have opinions on everything, obviously. But
Gemini.
so you're out at
Right.
sea. Are you keeping up with what's going on?
I'm sort of keeping up with this. And let me first say, I always have supported troops.
Right.
I've never supported war, but
Mhm.
I've supported troops. I had a brother in the Air Force, a brother in the Army, and a brother in the Marines. And I was in the Navy. Well, I worked for the old Navy, but it was in Cleveland. And one Black Friday, I almost got killed. So I'm getting money
So you
for that.
served your
That
time.
counts.
I served my
That
time.
counts.
We had a 70% sale, and it was fierce. So, but I don't think, like you were saying, if Russia, I mean, us going to war, and that's what we have to do because Ukraine is so small.
Right.
But then the fact that we lose soldiers and we lose people, and it's not even our war. Like I always related to my family. If my little sister got in trouble and was gonna get spanked, I'm like, I can't come help her,
Right.
you know, because I'm
I
bigger.
didn't do that. Right.
Yeah, I can't join that war. I
Right.
might get in
Mhm.
trouble too. But I support the troops. Like I said, I
Right.
never support wars. I never support wars.
Right.
Let
The
me
other
ask you. So go ahead, Mrs.
Well, I was
Strawley.
just going to say the other thing that is actually concerning to me. Well, the U.S. is considered a cancer with July 4th. So, of
Mhm.
course, we're out there trying to take care of everybody and nurture everybody and that kind of thing. But also, we have a Sagittarius moon. Like, are we really being truthful? Are we really being? No, I apologize. We have an Aquarius moon, and Saturn is in Aquarius. We have a Sagittarius rising. Remember when I said last month, Saturn is here. We got to really stay focused. We got to
Right.
really stay disciplined. This is also why I believe last month we saw a lot more suicides, because
Mhm.
remember I talked about this is going to feel really depressing. This is going to feel really sad. Well, the U.S. has their moon in Aquarius. So emotionally, like, we feel like we need to do this. We feel like we need to do that. No, Saturn is saying, check your feelings.
Mhm.
Let's use some logic on this. And let's be real honest about the repercussions. This
Does
actually makes me nervous.
does this make a difference? And do you look at the charts of the and for all intents and purposes, the men who are in charge, in terms of the Vladimir Putin and Biden and the president of Ukraine? Does that play any part in
I
all of
actually
this?
am just looking at the country's charts at this
Okay.
time,
Mhm.
specifically with the U.S. having its Pluto return.
Mhm.
Like, this is, regardless of who the president was going to be, we were going to be in a position to where we were either going to flex our power or we were just going to stand back and make our own transformations in a different kind of way. So
Mhm.
there's still an option, but since we're like just flowing with it, oh, we're going to go help. Let's go see what we can do.
Right.
It's not a good idea.
It's not. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Let's talk about the judge who has ruled today that Donald Trump and his youngins, the two oldest anyway, Ivanka and
Mhm.
Don Jr., must testify in Letitia James probe.
Baby.
This
Ooh.
is
Ew.
the black woman, the Attorney
Ew.
General of New York.
Mhm.
He must testify in her investigation into the Trump organization's business dealings, according to a ruling by a Manhattan judge today. What do you
Okay.
think,
Well,
AJ?
You know what I was telling you before we started? I said Trump got heat on him right now. I mean, if you got 19 cases against you and everything is falling apart, and when his attorneys turned around and said, I mean, his accountants turned around and said, hey, man, we out of here. When Donald Trump has to go online and use TurboTax for $49 to get help, he in trouble. I don't even use TurboTax. So I think you never wake up and hear good news about the Trumps. And that's
Right.
the problem I'm having. You never wake up and say, well, Donald has finally came around to whatever. And so I think he's going, and that sister up in what's it, New York?
Letitia James.
Oh, Letitia, she sounds like a Crip. No, I shouldn't say that. Scratch that.
Oh my God.
No, I
Those
shouldn't
two
say that.
are the
I mean,
opinions
she
of AJ
sounds
Jamal.
tough. That's what I mean.
right.
That's my allegedly. No, that's no. What I'm saying is she sound tough.
Yeah.
Let me use that word.
Yeah.
So she sound like a tough woman, and she ain't taking no mess. And so I would be scared of her. So I think he's in trouble. I really think he's in trouble.
So, Ms. Astrology, the Trump family has been fighting and fighting and
Mhm.
fighting to squash these subpoenas for their sworn testimony. And they say that Letitia James's office is targeting the former president for selective prosecution for political reasons and to bolster her career. And he's also alleged some racism in there. That's the truth. It's the truth.
Geminis. Bang on Geminis.
So talk about this from your perspective.
So this is a little, remember last month I did say that I think that Donald Trump is going to skate by. So, and this is simply because he has a Sagittarius moon. Now, and then when I looked at all three charts, now I would love to know this judge's or this attorney general's chart. And I do want to preface this with saying, I am not really big on politics, you guys.
Mhm.
I don't keep up with
Right.
this on a daily basis. If I get a headline, I'll look at it. But that's what the Gemini does. The Gemini watches the news every day. I look for the full moon once a month. It's a little bit different.
Right.
So I'm not like fully into this, but I looked at the charts today. So the reason that this is difficult, because remember also last month and really starting the last couple of years, it's the rise of the Black woman.
Mhm.
Black women are in power. You can't stop us. We've been ignited ever since the North Node was in Cancer. So Black women are winning. So I see her winning on one hand. However, I see Donald Trump still. And when I look at all three of these charts, first of all, Donald and Ivanka, she is a daddy's girl.
Mm-hmm.
They both have the same moon. They both have a lot of Cancer placements and Libra placements together. It feels like when I was doing my research for this and looking it up, that these two are going to join together and they're going to actually throw Don Jr. under the bus. He's a Capricorn. He's a Capricorn. Pluto is currently in Capricorn. We just had Venus retrograde there. The sun just there. Mercury was just there retrograding as well. So I think he's starting to realize that they're going to ultimately kind of gang up against him and try to shift the blame that way. This is how I see this happening. These two have, Ivanka and Donald both have Sagittarius moons. Sag is just a very lucky sign. Mm-hmm. And so just the fact that they have that placement, even if they do get into some trouble, it's not going to be what we want them to get. It's not going to be what we expect. Like, a part of me is like, by the time all this is over, Donald Trump might not even be around anymore. And then my prediction is true. He stated right on past this. Like,
right. and you can't knock the stars and the charts that you find. Yeah.
Right. And Ivanka's a Scorpio, and the South Node is currently in Scorpio. And so I think that she's just going to feel the pressure that she's got to choose sides, and she's got to put her power in one place or the other. And she's going to choose her dad because she's a daddy's girl.
Gotcha. And I will come up with, because I think for next time, I think it'll be interesting that we, do have like, I know that Letitia James is, I believe she's born in October. I don't know why I know that. I just, so she may be a Libra or somebody.
Or Scorpio. It actually would make more sense that she's a Libra because they really are into justice and fairness, and they usually work in the legal system. So she, even if her sun sign's not there, Mercury may be there for her. Which still, hopefully it's Libra, because then she's going to get somebody responsible. If it's Scorpio, it seemed like she's just going to be like, how did they get away? Like, because the South Node is in Scorpio.
Gotcha. AJ, I don't know if you have seen this.
AJ's like, I disagree.
AJ, there's a tape of the New Jersey police and in the arrest or the takedown of a young Black boy, and is taken on a lot of heat. The New Jersey police are under fire after cuffing a Black teenage boy in a mall fight as the white teenager that he was fighting just sat and watched. The New Jersey Police Department is talking about the two officers handcuffed and pinned a Black teen to the floor during a weekend mall fight while the white teen was involved in a feud and was left to sit on the couch. The Saturday event that happened at a Bridgewater mall said that the police response has sparked an internal investigation. The mother and the son, the son's name is Key or Kai, and his mother is Ebony. They were on with our friend Don Lemon, and his mother has taken this, to the streets and informed them that they're not going to get away with this, especially the way that they treated it, immediately going to take down the Black kid and putting the white kid off to the side. Miss Astrology, I don't know how if you have a take on this from an astrological, or maybe it's just as a mom,
As a mom, this infuriated me because not only was this child like, okay, you already get the privilege of being the lighter complexion, he was also older, and he also instigated and had been bullying this kid.
And the kid was standing up for a friend that he was also bullying.
So this guy is a bully. So of course this was absolutely infuriating to me. I did say this though, that the Chiron is currently in Aries. Aries rules law enforcement, military, as well as professional athletes. So there's a lot of healing that's going to come from this. And I mean, in the sense that this woman will win her lawsuit against this legal department, and she should absolutely, with everybody on her side that's behind her, because the opposite of Aries is Libra. Get your crew, get your people together, protest all extents of the law. She's absolutely going to win. And I do think that this will cause some kind of change, and that legal department or that precinct or whatever that they do there, fire people. This was infuriating, and I encourage that mom to go as far as she possibly can and get as much as she can out of this. And the family, that boy, the bully, Aries is a bully. Go after his family too.
Oh, okay.
Now let me ask real quick, because I heard of this. What city did this take place in again?
Bridgewater, New Jersey.
Okay, there's Bridge. I don't know why I was thinking Connecticut, but okay, this was in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And the fight broke out inside the mall. The police
Yeah.
came in and grabbed the brother and started handcuffing him.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Even though he was
wow.
smaller, younger.
He's like a smaller.
He was an 8th grader.
Yeah, he's
and the
an
other
eighth
kid
grader.
was in high
grader.
school. And
Yeah.
the 8th grader and
Yeah.
the other kid was in high school.
Yep.
I honestly think subconsciously police are afraid and
Absolutely.
nervous around Black people. And
Yep.
their
For sure.
first fear is, let me protect myself rather than protect and serve. Their first fear when they approach any scene, I got to protect myself because I can get killed and these people are crazy. Rather than just going up on them and going, let me see what the situation is. Let me handle everybody
Right.
as I want to be handled. You know,
Right.
not sitting there going, you know what? Let me grab the Black dude because he's probably the one that started it without knowing anything. That's the problem that gets me.
That's right.
I'm-
Let's talk about and I do want to come back to this, AJ, because I want to make a comment on that as well. But we need to move on to our question of the day and actually what's really going on, because we're in Pisces season.
Yay.
And tell us why that's a good thing, Miss Astrology.
Well, now the sun is no longer in a weak aspect in Aquarius because the sun rules Leo. So Leo's opposite is Aquarius, so it doesn't want to be there. The sun. And listen, I tell Leos all the time, the sun don't care who, don't got no shades, who's trying to drive. It's going to blind you, right? Be like a Leo,
Right.
just be bright like the sun. So now the sun has moved on. Also, the sun has moved away from Saturn. Last month, I said at the end of the broadcast, like, you guys, it's going to feel tough. Our pride, our joy, our life force is approaching the planet that loves to say no, that loves to say, no, you can't do that. You can't go nowhere. You need to work harder. Now we moved on and the sun is going to join Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion, abundance, a good time, opportunity, overindulgence, overdoing it. So now the sun is going to join Jupiter in the sign of Pisces.
So that makes sense with Mardi Gras coming up,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. So overdo it.
So let me ask you this, because one of the things that struck me with our first visit, Ms. Astrology, is you told us that Jesus was a Pisces.
I think so. I do. First of all, the fish. Okay, the Christian
Right.
symbol is the
Yeah.
fish.
Right.
Pisces keyword is I believe, and you all got to believe in order to accept Jesus, right? And then Pisces is known as the martyr, that they will self-sacrifice, and they also are the healer, though. And it's the last sign, so that would be Jesus encompassing all 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then the opposite of Pisces is Virgo, and this is the sign that's known as perfection. And so Jesus was known to be the perfect will of God, right? Like this is perfection. And so that balance between Virgo and Pisces, the only people that can argue me with on this are people that say Jesus was a Virgo. And then I can be like, and go, but when people say Jesus was a Capricorn, I'm like, get out of here.
Right. That
You don't
December
know.
25th thing.
You don't know what you're talking about, right?
You know, it's funny. I was about to say the same thing. I thought December 25th was more Capricorn.
Have you met a Capricorn? Are they
Oh,
going to
yeah.
sacrifice anything for you? No.
I dated a Capricorn and she act like Jesus.
Because society got them thinking that that's Jesus' birthday, and it's like, but will you die for me? They're like, die for you?
That sounds like the Cap I met.
Right. Like, but did you do everything you were supposed to do?
Oh, that is
Okay.
so funny.
So here we are in Pisces season. What can you tell us? What can we look forward to? What in terms of things that are coming up, or as you see it with the Pisces sign?
Well, Pisces is going to have the best. Now, Pisces, your year is starting.
Okay.
Like, it's going to be really good for you guys for the next year. I actually think for all the mutable signs, so that's Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, and Sagittarius. We're looking good. We're going to have a really good year. The only thing that we have to be careful of is getting too caught up in the wrong way, because Jupiter doesn't care what it is that you're doing. It's going to expand it. So Pisces is known to be the sign of their own self-undoing. So they'll take on other people's energy. They'll get all sad and depressed and and Jupiter's like, yeah, let's do that. And we'll expand that. And so it's very important for especially those 4 signs to be very mindful of what they're pursuing and what they're doing. They'll find a lot of opportunities, a lot of fun, a lot of abundance. Overindulgence is very possible. So this is something to also be mindful of. If you're a Pisces or a Pisces rising, you could gain weight right now, so you want to be
Oh,
careful
that's
of
for
that.
any of us, though, isn't it?
I mean, that's what I say about Sagittarius season, because Sag is Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and so that's why Thanksgiving and Black Friday are in Sagittarius season. It's like, let's overeat, then overspend. Yay, that sounds just like what a Sagittarius wants to do. But
Says the Sagittarian.
as a Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and all those other planets. But Jupiter also rules Pisces. So it also wants to really work on our spirituality, our belief systems, our higher self. So anything that you can really dream about, imagine, manifest, envision, those things can truly happen very easily right now. Doors easily being open, real easy connections with people. Like, this should be really easy. However, if you get sucked up in tipping the bottle, that's going to be real easy to do too. So you just got to be mindful of that.
That's really interesting, because I have a friend who is a Pisces, and he is going through tremendous health struggles. And he does take on other people's things. You know, he's one of those that he's kind of a caregiver in that respect, checking in on us and doing things. But he is one who was very, very ill, and so it's kind of interesting to see as you were talking about them and how you can just become consumed by all of this.
Absolutely. So it feels like the first thing is he needs to make sure that he's not allowing himself to get consumed with other people's energy. And if it is, it's positive energy. So turn on the comedy shows, listen to the good music, drink lots of water, Pisces, and stay away from complainers at this time, specifically this next year. Healing is really possible for him right now, but he's got to be mindful of what his energy is.
That's great.
So,
That's great.
Wow.
And so from an individual Pisces, is it different for men versus women, or is it just the birth date and where the moon is?
It's definitely different, because men operate more from their sun sign, which is more of the ego and the pride. And as women, we operate more from our moon, which is more emotions and intuition and feelings. So Pisces moon definitely wants to be very careful right now. This is Kanye. This is why he's going off on this deep end. He has a Pisces moon. His emotions have his Gemini sun all over the place, and he can't shut up. He can't even keep his mouth closed, because he's like kind of delusioned about, oh, if I say this, it'll help. Boy, the best thing you could say is absolutely nothing at this point. And so that's that Pisces energy.
So we'll talk about that in entertainment as well, but from I guess from sports or from a political perspective, are you seeing anything, or are you reading anything?
Not really. I do think sports is still taking it's because Chiron is sports and law enforcement. We are going to continue to see lawsuits, people like law enforcement and athletes losing in lawsuits and things like that. Well, I don't want to say athletes losing, but people that are causing the harm or causing the hurt now that's going to all be brought up, and they're going to lose. Any lawsuits that are against law enforcement. And this is also what concerns me about going to war with Russia, because Aries also rules military. And with Chiron there, we could take a lot of losses, a lot of injuries, a lot of hurt to our military. Like, we could lose a lot of troops, or we can come back and we can heal troops, and we could start passing new laws in the military, having better protection for women in the military, certain things like that we need to take care of at home instead of being out there where we put ourselves in position to take a loss. I do think that as far as athletes go, and I know that there's a coach that's suing in Dallas.
Yeah.
And I do think that, even with, the Texans hiring a Black coach, don't let that distract you. Keep pursuing that. Keep with your documentation. There's some kind of rules. Something is going to change all of this in sports, as well as I do think the way that the athletes are taken care of and having their body protected. We're going to see that continue to evolve and change as well.
AJ, do you find that interesting in terms of the lawsuits and the law and things like that?
I found it interesting how heavyweight Miss Astrology is. Well, I was just thinking, oh my God, I would never want to go on a third date with her.
Baby,
the reason you don't like my cooking is because your sun moon is in rising and my food is delicious. My food is delicious, but because you a Sagittarius and your health is a Gemini, that's what's wrong with you. Now I'm out of here.
Listen, AJ, I wouldn't even be at your house. We wouldn't even be on a date. It's like literally question 3 for me. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. She's so heavyweight. She knows before it happens.
I'm mid-40s. I don't have time to waste.
Right. but what you're saying is, she's right. I agree with you. I told you my brother's into this, and I listen to
Yes.
him. I follow what he's saying, and I've been, I dabbled and dabbled in astrology because a lot of things I saw Gemini. I read up on Gemini, and that's me. And I'm going, wow, that's me. So to answer your question, I think, like, wasn't there a coach in also Miami that's suing somebody who?
Well, that's the football. Brian Flores is suing
Right, that's
all
one.
of the NFL. Right.
Right, that's the one blind.
Yeah.
And I can understand what he's suing them for, because they got caught in something that they shouldn't have been doing, and he caught them in it. It's not like they just said, okay, we interviewed you and you didn't get the job. It wasn't like that. It was like, we interviewed you, we want to talk to you, but they've already hired someone, from what I heard. And it was like, why y'all even bring me in if y'all already hired somebody? So he got a strong case on his hand. And I agree. And they probably don't even know, like Miss Astrology has laid it out.
Settle. Right. Don't go all the way with this.
Yeah.
NFL,
see, they don't even know that.
Fix it now, because you're going to lose.
Right. And that's what they should be listening to you right now. So
absolutely. Thank you, AJ.
NFL be sitting there saying, let's
Sybil,
just
send
get
him
this
an email
money
for
out.
me, please.
Right. That's hilarious.
And it's really, I know we talk about these are the views of Ms. Astrology, not of it, Sybil, and not of AJ, but there's something to be said for this. And I also think that the latest news is that the former U.S. Former Attorney General of the United States has been hired by the NFL to take on the Brian Flores case, who is a Black woman. Loretta Lynch is going to be representing the NFL in all of this. And so
I love it.
So I think that there's going to be, some real interesting angles to be seen, and stories to come out of this.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. And remember, I told y'all this: Black women there are no stopping us. Listen, if you want to be successful and good, you better find your Black woman that you believe in and support, because that's who's going to the top. The NFL kind of doesn't realize what they did there, because they hired this woman, and she's probably going to have them settle, make changes, like all that kind of stuff. This isn't going to go as far as the NFL thinks it's going to go, because she's in this place of position, and it's time for all of this to be healed. And who better to make it happen than a Black woman?
Right. And the possibility of a Black man buying a football team.
Yes, I love it. It's time. It's definitely time.
Oh, it's way time. Yeah, I would like to have been in there, but they didn't want a football team in Hawaii, so I just took my penny somewhere else.
So Hawaii.
as we come to an end of this segment, anything you want to bring up that we have not touched on, Ms. Astrology?
No, not necessarily. I just want everybody to be mindful of Pisces season, and that it's actually going to feel good, but it has the potential to feel really good. So you can really go over the top with things. So just be mindful of that, working on your faith.
So does that mean moderation in everything?
Good luck, Pisces, because they're like, it's not easy. Because remember, they're two fish. The glyph is two fish that are going in two opposite directions, but they're tied in the middle. So it's like, if we're going down, we're going all the way down. If we're going up, we're going all the way up. So it's not going to be easy. The opposite of Pisces is Virgo. Make your little list, get a couple little things done on your list, because Virgos love lists. They love to do stuff. And then you'll feel better, and you'll feel a little bit more balanced, and you'll be able to actually gain your footing, which I love that, because Pisces rules the feet.
Yeah. Oh, nice. And as a Leo, as a Gemini dealing with Pisces people, do you have advice for us to kind of,
Well, Gemini should probably not deal with Pisces people. Like, because y'all both gonna be like, which way are we going? Which way do we go? Like, which way, like where? It's all mutable energy, right? So that's there. For Leos, though, I do think that Leos, because Saturn is in Aquarius still across from you guys, it's really about making sure that a couple of things. One, you're being completely authentic to yourself, but also, incorporating your authenticity within the group, and being, about the group effort. And then also just really shining, if you will, and having fun in whatever you're doing. Leo, listen, Leo, if it's not fun, it's just not for you. If you don't feel royal, if you don't feel like, yes, this is a life I'm supposed to be living, then it's not for you. You guys are the royal ones. And when you do that, it encourages the rest of us to do that.
If it's not fun, you're right.
Don't do it.
How can people reach you, Ms. Astrology? Because we do want to tell people
Thank
that you
you.
are available
Yes, well, I'm
for
all over
readings.
social media at Miss Astrology, or my website is cosmicallylit.com. I do a weekly newsletter. I have a weekly collective that we join together live. I do courses, and you can even get private readings. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And you also deal with tarot cards.
Tarot cards. I love the
Yeah,
cards.
I
I
was
don't bring them
wondering
on here because I know they scare people. Um,
that.
people are scared of tarot. I don't know why. I'm like, y'all realize this was our stuff. It started with playing cards.
Mhm.
Who plays cards? Black people. Okay, we play cards, and this is how tarot actually started. A lot of people still read playing cards.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it just fills in the cracks for me. I love it.
Gotcha. It is time for us to move to our newsletter, the What You Need to Know newsletter. Please subscribe, and it is absolutely free. Go to SybilWilkes.com, give us your name and your email address, and it will be in your email box each Monday through Friday morning. And did I mention that it's free? Absolutely. Let's talk about some of the things that are in the newsletter, and this one contributed by one of our youngins, Cameron Riley, and talks about Joseph H. Rainey, the first Black congressman. He was born into slavery in 1832, became the nation's first Black congressman, and just recently honored at the U.S. Capitol last week. They say that for years, his great granddaughter would go and talk to other people in the family to find out about him because his name was never mentioned in the history books. They say that he escaped to Bermuda during the Civil War, where slavery had been abolished 20 years before. He remained there until its end, and then he returned to the U.S., empowered to help the newly freed Black slaves. And he went to Congress, elected and seated in December of 1870. Less than 10 years after slavery ended, and he fought for the rights of freedmen, the Chinese railroad workers, and Native Americans.
Wow.
What an
I instantly want to know his birthday.
Well, we'll find that out for you, and we'll get that.
Instantly want to know his birthday.
Of course. And so just off the top of your head, what would you think that he is?
Maybe a Sag.
Yeah. Of course it's a Sag.
Well, the reason that I say that is because they do tend to be very fair and really like go for things that they believe in. Mm-hmm. If not a Sag, maybe a Libra, because again, that fairness is there, that balance is there, that ability to get along with all people, because that's the dualities of the air signs. Mm-hmm. So one of those is the first that kind of comes to mind. And Sag loves freedom. They are all about their freedom, running off to Bermuda and all that kind of stuff, and coming back. Yeah, that makes sense.
Let me see. Okay, so quickly Googling, as they like to do. Mm-hmm. It says that he was born June 21st.
No, that's a Cancer.
That's
1832.
Isn't that the cusp? No. That's not right on it. June 21st.
Don't say cusp.
Don't say cusp. Yes, right. Thank you, Sybil.
I'm glad you said
very
that.
close
okay.
to the Gemini. It's Cancer axis. Yeah, it's right there. So, but again, Gemini is the opposite of Sag. So I would want to look in more and see like where his moon is and stuff like that, because there's something more there.
Interesting.
What's his name?
His name is Joseph H. Rainey. Rainey.
I'm definitely looking it up.
And you can also go to the What You Need to Know newsletter for more information.
It's on the newsletter.
Yeah.
Now, he was a congressman, just real quick.
The first Black U.S. congressman.
Wow.
Okay.
In the
that's a heavyweight.
1870s.
Wow. That's really
and so
amazing.
he was honored at the U.S. Capitol. And amongst those who were there was the current House Whip, who is James Clyburn, one of the longest serving Black congressmen in the United States Congress today. So I just thought it was fascinating. And I always look at these stories and I think, what a great story that would make. What a great movie. What a great, but we have got so many incredible people in our history that we don't know enough about. And that's one of the things we try to do through the newsletter. Another thing we talked about in the newsletter was about the Russian invasion and how it's not just something that's happening across the world. This is something that is going to affect all of us, and namely through energy prices, right? We're already going through something in terms of the gas prices that are, I don't know what they are in California, AJ, when you're home for a day or two.
580.
a gallon.
Yeah.
A gallon.
Yeah.
I paid almost $4 a gallon. Well, it was $4 a gallon the other
Right.
day in Dallas. And so
Same.
yeah.
It said $3.99 for Supreme. I was like, oh God, this is the first time I'm not getting Supreme. What an Uber.
Right. But it's going to affect all of us in a number of ways in terms of the energy prices, because of course the gasoline prices. But that means that the energy prices, the gas and all the other fuels, their prices are going to go up for the truck drivers, for the rail, and for those on sea, and bringing supplies across the country. So, and those prices are going to be passed on to us.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Yes. This Russian invasion scares me. It's going to really wreak havoc on our economy.
Yeah.
But this goes back to what I've been saying for over a year now. We've got to find, it's going back to that carpool. How many people live in this, work in this same direction? Let's all ride together and chip in. It goes back to finding your tribe, your local community. We got to support each other, because what the stuff that they're doing up there, they're not in alignment, you guys. I'm just saying.
Right.
So it is gonna, if we can just find our tribe and our group, that's Aquarius's groups, then we have a little bit better chance of, not a little bit, actually a lot better chance of success from this. Because this actually makes me really nervous.
I don't know if inflation has a birth sign.
A Capricorn. Definitely a Capricorn.
But it's here. And we are affected, and as I said, it's being passed down to us, and that's from our clothing to our food, to all of the things that affect our day-to-day lives. We're all going to be affected by this, and face the consequences of a possible invasion.
Let me ask this question, because as we invade, as Russia invade, I always thought, and maybe I'm not the smartest person, but why would be Russia? And they're not the owner of oil. Why? I mean, I thought that was
they are the second or third largest supplier.
Russia is?
Yes.
See, I didn't know that.
Yep.
I didn't know that. And that's why I thought, you know how they talk about the Middle East and where all the oil is. You know, if we were cool with them. And I just thought that people was joining in on up in the gas price, just to say, I mean, if we invade Akron, Ohio, let's up the gas price. I just thought people just up the gas price to make you pay more. But you're saying Russia is the third?
Yeah, it depends on who you ask, but the second, I say one of the largest, so they're the second or third largest supplier of gasoline, which is why Germany was like, when they have a new chancellor, he was like, not with you, Mr. Biden, because we need, we have this pipeline deal with these guys.
Right.
And so, there are some economic as well as political reasons why people aren't jumping on, members of NATO especially aren't jumping on the bandwagon. And
wow,
it's affecting
and it's the
all
same reason we should stay out of it. Like, I understand that Ukraine is an underdog. I get it.
Right.
It's just not a good idea for us to get involved. Like, this is going to really hurt us. I'm afraid it's going to hurt our troops and our economy.
And AJ, you'll love this. I tell this to all the comedians or try to remember to tell all the comedians who come on. The current president of the Ukraine is a former stand-up comedian.
It's official. That's what I'm saying. It's official. Anybody can run a country. It's official. Anybody can be a president.
Was he? I'm gonna Google that. That's hilarious. I'm gonna try to find some footage of him on stage.
Yeah, do. I think that'd be very funny.
And they voted for him.
This is, he was one of those guys who said, I don't like the way the country is being run. I'm going to run. And he did. And, heck, we had a former wrestler as governor of Minnesota, remember, and so all of these people, we've had actors and comedians who've been in the U.S. Congress. And so here we have the head of Ukraine is a former stand-up.
Oh, that's funny. Now, let me ask, who else is helping Ukraine? Why are I understand we the big brothers, but who else is going to join in? So, I mean, you see what I'm saying? Why
So
just USA?
Great Britain is on
Okay.
hand. I think
Okay.
Germany is kind of, we're definitely not going to get any support from China because of their close relationship with
With
Russia.
Russia. With
But you
Russia.
do most of the NATO countries, which are much smaller than the United States, as you say,
Exactly.
United States is the big brother here. But you are finding some agreement and alignment
Okay.
with these other members of NATO, the North Treaty Alliance.
Yeah.
So let me also talk about the coronavirus. We have a coronavirus update every day in the What You Need to Know newsletter, and the CDC is expected to loosen the indoor mask guidelines. As you know, day by day, you're getting, like AJ, overnight this week. The governor I'm sorry, the head of the LA County has suspended the mask guidelines, and you're
Yeah.
finding with the exception of schools and things like that, most of the people are able in LA County are able to go without their mask, and this came after the Super Bowl. This announcement was made and said, sorry, whatever, they're not going to wear their mask anyway at the Super Bowl at SoFi, but especially as we are going forward, they're loosening the guidelines from one end of the
Right.
country to the other.
I said
My
that last month. I
my
predicted that
friend was
last
in
month.
Vegas. Vegas, he said
Yep.
that they did it in Vegas too. He said,
Hmm.
I'm walking into a place right now because they just loosened the mask mandate. And I said, are you serious? In Vegas?
Hmm.
He said, yeah, I don't have to wear a mask now. See, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did predict a little bit closer to
Yep.
Gemini season that we would see this. I think by the time Gemini season gets here, there's any kind of mandate related to coronavirus is gone. And the virus itself, we're not going to hear as much about it. We're not going to be talking as much about it. But I absolutely predicted that it's loosening up. So even when that, and I predicted that, and then I start hearing they're like, oh, there's a new strain. And I'm like,
Right, right.
what the? No, no, not how this is supposed to go.
Well,
But then sure enough,
I don't know
I
about
mean,
anybody else.
not
Go
for
ahead, sweetie.
nothing, but I was on a ship in Florida, and trust me, I was the only one on the ship wearing a mask, and I was the only one that caught COVID. I was like, how does that happen?
Wow.
that sucks.
And
Wow.
I said to
No,
myself,
really.
this is
That really,
crazy. This
That
is
is
crazy.
bananas.
yeah.
It is. But I still
Yeah.
wear mine. I
Yeah,
still
me
stick
too.
to it.
Yeah, I'm
What's
going
the
to
big
as well.
what's the big deal? Put a mask on. Like it's my
Right.
favorite thing about wearing a mask is I
Mhm.
can talk to myself in peace. Like I'm just running my mouth under there, and y'all really have no idea. Like, I'm putting my mask on.
Well,
The protection is a bonus. I'm just trying to
Right. It
stay
is.
sane here.
well, I will tell you. The other day, I was at a restaurant. I don't know if I told this already, but I was at a restaurant, and it was I was telling the woman my order, and she was having a real hard time, and I had my mask on. She had her mask on, but she kept saying what, and so I
Right.
had to kind of loosen my mask, and it turns out she says these hearing aids aren't worth a damn today.
So she can hear you either way.
There you go.
That's funny.
All right, let's move to entertainment. And as promised, Ms. Astrology, we're going to talk about some of these things, some of these topics as they relate to entertainers. And one of them is Trey Songz, the very, very popular singer, has been accused in a rape in a new $20 million lawsuit.
Yep.
He allegedly raped a woman at a house party, this according to the lawsuit, and it was not of the vaginal
Right.
rape.
Mm-hmm.
He is being sued by a Jane Doe who says she had consensual sex with him before the alleged rape on March 24th of 2016, and she claims he suddenly turned into a savage rapist. She claims he invited her to a house party, invited her upstairs, and she believed they would have consensual sex. And instead, he repeatedly asked her if he could, do sex in the other direction or the other side. And so she said no, 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 and told him to stop asking. And she said his demeanor changed. And then he threw her on the ground and he raped her, according to this lawsuit. And So I'm just wondering from your perspective, Ms. Astrology. I don't know. I don't know Trey Songz sign or anything like this. What do you think?
So this is funny because I've been saying how lucky Sagittarius is, right? And he's a Sagittarius. So I feel like the luck came from him getting away with this type of behavior for quite some time. He
Okay.
also has an Aquarius moon. Saturn is in Aquarius. I actually think he's going to settle out of court. I don't think that any criminal charges are going to be filed against him. However, this is just the opinion of Miss Astrology. I think he's guilty. I think he 100% did this, and I just think he's gotten away with it so many times before that he thought he was going to get away with it again. But and I don't think that he's going to have any criminal charges filed against him. I think he's going to like pay money to get it, and hopefully he learns a lesson from this.
Right.
However, Aquarius is a sign of groups. He's got an Aquarius moon, so these groupies might just start to come out a little bit more, and others have things to say. I think he's going to try to pay them all off, and that could work for him for a while. He's got quite a bit of Sagittarius placements, but he also has some other placements that say like, bro, this could be a problem for you. You tried it too much, just like a Sag. And not saying that what he did was, of course it wasn't, but Sag goes overboard. Oh, I got away with it. Let me try it again. Let me try it. Most likely sign to have a gambling addiction because the first couple times I won big, so I'm cheap going again. So the first couple times he got away with it, or how many times he got away with it, or people would whisper about it, but nothing actually happened to him. So now it's time for him to, hey, Saturn is against your moon.
So to add to this, AJ, the attorney says that he is also representing two other women who are suing Trey for alleged sexual assaults, this time in Miami and Las Vegas.
I think it's going to come. You know, it's funny how someone says, you know, if he goes, no, I didn't do that, it was consensual, da 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 da. It's strange how it started coming out the woodwork of other people it happened to. And they start saying, okay, this person spoke up, another person spoke up. And again, I mean, after a while, you know, we can't believe everything you say, Trey, because, you know, there's like 6 or 7 people. I don't do any jokes or anything about rape because to me, that's just not funny in a sense, what I'm saying. But if more people come out and it's not a joke, I was down with Cosby, and because I'm, you know, he clean comedian, I'm a clean comedian, so I was sitting there. I know Bill Cosby. There's no way he could do that. But after about the 15th person, I'm going, wait a minute, Bill, I'm getting tired of repping you. And then after about the 20th person, I go, whoa, maybe I don't know, maybe he do have some in that Jello pudding pop. I don't know. I'm just saying, it got to so many people, you know, I mean. You know, somewhere you draw the line. Not one person ever said I attacked him. Not one. Right. You're talking about 5 or 6 or 7, Trey. Something's wrong. There must be a road down there.
He was supposed to stop while he was ahead, not to, you know. And I'm not, I'm not okay with it. But it's just like this was going to catch up to you because you just kept going overboard. You're just thinking I'm gonna get away with it. I'm so lucky. But he also has some Scorpio placements, and Scorpio, he's got Saturn there. Scorpio is that sign of sex and power and those kind of things. And with Saturn there, it's like he lost all discipline with that. So wow, like Trey Songz. Yeah.
Well, this is going to be interesting, and especially, I mean, we've had this before. Obviously, this is nothing new, and like you, I'm not defending what he did, but it's just so sad that people are learning from the actions and the horrific actions of others. You know, we had where people were trying to give others a second chance, and it wasn't rape, but it was, you know, abuse. And so, but it just seems to be these patterns that become ingrained in people. Is that something that you come across, Ms. Astrology?
I do, especially with mutable signs like a Sagittarius. It's just like when they're like, oh, I can do it. Oh, I got away with it. Like, here we go. We're going again. This is one reason why I love astrology, because it let me know I have a tendency to go overboard and I need to be aware of that. So there are certain signs that Sagittarius will go overboard. Even Gemini will. They're not going to do anything like that. They'll go overboard in their pettiness. Gemini can be the most petty sign.
Okay, AJ. Okay. Let's quickly, before we run out of time, I do want to ask you about Kanye, because you did reference him before.
I did.
This is coming up on the year anniversary since Kim Kardashian filed for divorce from Kanye. And of course, we've had reports about him just really flipping out
Yes.
and going crazy on social media, and the things that he said in trolling her boyfriend, the man who's supposed to be her boyfriend,
Mhm.
Pete Davidson, and the things that he is saying. What do you say about Kanye?
I was so hopeful for them. Kim and Kanye both have Pisces moons. They actually are very compatible. But Kim is a Libra. And once Kanye threw that balance off and stopped being fair and stop allowing her to always look pretty, because Libra is they're really about their image and they want to look good, then all bets were off. Like, that's when they had a chance in the beginning. But Gemini and Pisces both are mutable energies. So all that happens is with Kanye is his emotions override his intellect. And then he just starts like saying all these things, thinking, oh, I can talk her into coming back to me. Well, when you started embarrassing her in public and it wasn't fair, you lost her. She's gone. So.
And she is about the law.
And she is about the law. Very legal. I'm a Kardashian fan, so hold it against me if you want to.
No, but the views of Miss Astrology
are the views of Miss Astrology. I'm a fan. So, and I was really hopeful for those two to get back together. I'm all for, the 2-parent household and then being together in that sense. But Kanye messed up. So she's done. She's not going to go back.
He did say he apologized and said he was acting crazy.
He was. Maybe if he checked into a mental health place and really did something big to tip the scales back, because for Kim now, as a Libra, the scales are off. You've embarrassed me. You've embarrassed my man. You're being a bully. The scales are off. So maybe if he does something drastic, like I'm going to check in and do this and that, maybe. But what he's doing right now, wrong. Somebody get Kanye an astrologer.
I don't know if you're volunteering, but how can people reach you, such as Kanye?
Right, cosmicallylit.com, or I'm Miss Astrology on all social media platforms. So.
Okay. And AJ, how can people reach out to you on your social media?
I'm on MySpace. I told you
last
time.
Right. Okay.
I got 8 people that's following me. There are more people in Cool in the Gang than following AJ Jamal. I'm old. I'm so old. I'm so old school.
He's on Facebook, is what he's saying.
No, he said he meant MySpace. He really didn't.
Maybe Miss Astrology can help me with this. I say, if it doesn't make dollars, it don't make sense. So for me to sit there and put a camera on me and start dancing around and doing something funny after 40 years of me getting paid for doing that, now I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna upload it. And people are going to see it and have fun. And I'm sitting there going, well, I didn't make no money off of that just upload. So that's why I can't get to doing it. And so being old school and working 40-something years where I would get paid for what I do, now my Gemini in me says, let's spend time with myself. And I spend a lot of time with me. I take me to the park. I take me here and I take me there. And myself feels good about it. So that being said.
So let me close on Yogi's jewel, because I think both of you speak to this. And the jewel for the day from Yogi is sometimes you have to talk yourself into doing what is best for you. And so I think you both have mastered that, honestly. Yes. But some of us still need help. So that is our jewel for the day. AJ, thank you so much for joining us from the high seas of Mexico. We appreciate you. And it is always such a great and fun time with you. Really appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm going to start following Miss Astrology.
Yay. Thank you.
Absolutely.